Hello there. Personna. Let's just get right to it. Uh, Personna is a company that makes a ton of different DE blades. They make them under their own name and for, different supermarkets and drugstores and all kind of stuff. But Personna is a company that, uh, DE blade wise, there's a lot of um, confusion around many of the Personna brands. And tonight we're going to be shaving with what people call a Personna Med Prep. Now this same wrapper, I believe, is used to on one of Persona's blades that people take to calling the Lab Blue. The only difference is that I'm aware of anyway, is that, and if you'll look, maybe you can see, it says right here on the blade for hospital use. That's the only difference between the two blades that I'm aware of that you can see. Some people say that Personna does a special acid wash or some type of wash to the med preps, and that's the difference between them. And I assume if they were doing something like that and they're stepping for hospital use on the blade, then they're doing it so that it's more sterile or hyperallergenic or something along the lines that they feel a hospital wants in a blade. And that also would account for the cost, which is 2 or 3 times the price of the Lab. This blade was given to me by Kevin Moore on the Shave Mug Society. He sent me several of these blades. He said he sent me some of these and some of the Lab Blues, but every one of these blades has for hospital use stamped on it. I opened every one of them trying to find a Lab Blue, and they all say for hospital use. So that's fine. No biggie. I was going to do like a comparison shave with them. I'm going to do a shave with the Lab Blue or the Med Preps, and we're going to use my black handled Super Speed. This is a 67. This is the same exact type of razor that I started shaving with in the 70s, and every new blade goes first in this razor, and after it comes out of this razor, it goes into whatever I want to try it in next, but I always try to base the first shave off of this razor if I can. So we're going to get started. We're going to use Razor Rock's King of the Castle Lavender Montbianco and my Ever Ready 100 reunited with a 20 millimeter golden nib finest knot at 48 millimeter loft. So I'm going to go ahead and get my brush wet. I don't think Badger needs a lot of soak, so I don't soak it a lot. Just run it up under some water and go to town. And I shaved with a pack of blades that came in a blue package. I got them from Sally Beauty Supply. And I look on some of the vendor sites, and they're calling them Lab Blues. But the ones that I got, people on most of the forums are of the opinion that those are actually Personna Barber blades. And I mentioned before that they are, in my opinion, horrible. They're horrible, horrible blades for me. The Barber blades are just you know. And I'm hoping that the med preps, that there'll be a difference in them, because the reputation of this blade and the lab is really, really good. And the reputation of those barber blades is really, really bad. So I'm hoping if they were right about the barber blades, they'll be right about these med preps. Love the Razor Rock soaps. The lavender in this is a bit different than other lavender scents that I have tried. It seems to have a really... It's the only thing I get out of this is lavender and a soapy smell. A lot of the lavender soaps that you see out there, they've got something added besides lavender. I don't know what it is. Maybe because it's a flower. But a lot of shaving soap makers won't do just a straight lavender scent. They want to mix it with something they think of as masculine, like sage or something like that. Bergamot or bergamot or whatever you want to call it. Anything than just a straight lavender. And I don't get it. You know, there are lavender, there are rose soaps, men's shaving soaps, and we don't, you know, they don't have a problem with that. So I don't know, but lavender is a scent that's one of my very favorites. One of the roses too as well. One of the other scents, and yes, it's floral. I don't care. I'm 51 years old. And if I want to wear some, or if I want to wear a masculine floral scent, or if I want to use a floral shaving soap, then I'm going to do it, and I don't really care what anybody thinks about it. So that's also part of being a man, is not giving a rat's hind end what anybody else thinks about what you do, and I don't. So take that for what it's worth. But anyway, lilac is another floral scent that I just love. Matter of fact, a blend of lavender and lilac is just wonderful. Okay, just from that first little bit there, I can tell you these are not anything like the barber blades. Fairly sharp. The only other American safety razor, Personna type blade that I can compare them to that I like is the crystals. And these have a smoothness to them that's similar to the crystals. In my opinion, the crystals are a pretty smooth blade, but the thing about the crystals is, in my opinion, they're also pretty sharp. This is a fairly sharp blade, but it's not quite as sharp, at least in this first run, as the crystals, but wonderful so far. Just a wonderful blade. It feels like it's got a really good combination of sharp and smooth. The kind of combination I think that kind of tells me that, you know, I'm going to get a really good shave with it if I pay attention to what I'm doing. And that it's a bit more forgiving than, say, a feather. But that if I got careless with the blade, that blade feels like it could cut me if I wasn't careful with what I was doing. But a wonderful pass. Just a nice smooth shave so far. Chin's nice and smooth after the first pass, which one of my problem areas. I've got 2 problem areas on my face. And by a problem area, I mean areas that I tend to have difficulty getting completely smooth. That's my chin, but I can get that. But there's just a bit of a spot here and here that no matter what kind of razor I'm using or which direction I shave in, how many passes, that's not ever going to be completely smooth right along under here on both sides. My hair goes in those 2 spots, and there's not a way that I've been able to find. And believe me, I've tried every direction, everything, stretching it every which way, every kind of blade, every kind of razor, you name it, even a straight. And it will not come clean in those spots. That's just the chin. Yeah, I can get that. But that particular little spot on both sides of my jaw, underneath my jaw, buddy, you can forget it, because it's not coming. But now, I really like this blade. Kevin, thank you. I don't know. I won't know longevity until I try it. The crystal blades that I talked about earlier, I can get like 6 shaves from a crystal blade, and I could probably get more. I have this principle. And I developed it early on. I don't push DE blades. The minute they begin to tug or carry on even a little bit, they go away. I get rid of them. And replace them. The crystal never did tug. But 6 shaves, to me, I thought, well, that's pushing it on a DE blade. So I bent them after 6. I don't know whether this blade will equal that crystal's performance. That's asking a lot for a blade. I've not Found another blade I've ever shaved with. I found some blades that were comparable in sharpness and in feel to that crystal, and this is very much, in my opinion, like a crystal in feel. It's just, the crystal is just a tad, and to me, from my remembrance, a tad sharper. But this blade is a lot like the crystal in the way that it feels against my face, and you gotta know the crystal is my favorite blade. It's my favorite DE blade. There's not another blade that I know of that comes anywhere close to the crystal. So at least for me. Lovely. You know what this feels like to me? I just realized it. And if you never shave with them, then I don't know if I can make you understand. But when I first started shaving, like I said, I started out with a black handled super speed, and I got a tuck of blades with that super speed, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was a metal case, and the case was like silver colored. They were Gillette blades. I can't remember what particular type. And back then, you know, we didn't obsess over that kind of stuff. We bought shaving stuff and shaved, you know. Today, there's a lot, you know, we know all the different nuances, myself as well, of pretty much all the gear that we use and stuff like that. Back then, you know, I didn't obsess over that. That was the only blade that I knew that was available, so that's what I bought and that's what I used. But those blades were wonderfully smooth and sharp, and they lasted a long time. I could get almost 2 weeks out of one of those blades before I started having problems and had to change it because it was giving me weepers and necks and irritation and stuff like that. The new blades today, they don't hold a candle to the way they were in the 70s when I first started shaving. I'm not a connoisseur, and I can't name off the different kinds of the old vintage blades. And, you know, I'm not going on eBay and everywhere else trying to buy a bunch of vintage blades. I don't want blades that were made in the 70s. They're most likely half the time you're going to end up with blades that you'll end up blades you can use, and then you're going to end up with blades that ain't no good because they've been laying around for 40 years, you know. So I'm not chasing that. I'm just saying, you know, back then the quality of the blade was so much more than anything that I've tried today, even blades from the same company, you know, that kind of deal. So for what it's worth, you know. And then the Wilkinson swords were another blade. I believe the ones that I bought back then, I could be wrong, but I believe they were made in Germany. The ones that we have now are, I believe, made in England and India. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Wilkinson sword that I ended up finding when they ran out of the Gillettes, and started stocking the Wilkinsons, they were a superior blade too, and I believe they were made in Germany. So, but I'm just saying, and I'm not knocking today's stuff. I'm just saying some of the vintage blades and stuff, the ones that I used were better. Period. Take that for what it's worth. I'm just saying. So I'm gonna follow this up with some brute. People say there's sandalwood and lavender and all kind of stuff in brute. I get the sandalwood. I don't get a lot of lavender out of brute, but they say it's there. But it goes good with that soap. So, all right, that's the shave. Black Handle Super Speed. Personna for hospital use, also known, I believe, as the Med Preps. Wonderful razor blade, in my opinion. Very little irritation. Nice, close, smooth shave. Longevity, I don't know, but it's looking good right now. Just from my first experience with this blade, this is a superior blade to a lot of them that I use. So, alright. God bless you. And I'll see you around the forums, the Facebook